All right, now, Craigslist. We've all been on it. We've all seen it. And just for the few people, if there are any that might not know, Craigslist, it's a site that has a lot of different classified ads. And they have a lot of different categories and a lot of different things. So that's kind of what Craigslist is in a nutshell. Craigslist, Craigslist. But Silent DJ and I were going through and we noticed that there's some really bizarre things on Craigslist. If you really sit back and take the time to look through it. For example, they have a local news section on Craigslist. And I wonder how many people even bother to go look at it. Lunatic on loose at Fireside Terrace. This is in Buffalo Grove. Jason Lewis is absolutely insane. Jason harassed a neighbor and her family moving in today. Jason wore a V for Vengeance mask with a bandana tied around the bottom half of the mask. Jason Lewis was screaming at his neighbors at the top of his lungs. The neighbors went to the police station to file a report on Jason's crazy behavior. Jason has walked around the condo complex before wearing the V for Vengeance mask. Here's a pic of the nut wearing the mask. He's freaky. And they got a picture of the guy wearing the mask. First of all, I didn't even know that's what they call those. I see those masks from time to time. I didn't know they called them. I didn't know they had a name, so that's what they call V for Vengeance. But it's like a headshot of the guy. It's like he's in somebody's apartment. So this to me looks like something that is made up. Like if you would see the picture, you kind of know what I'm talking about. But this is the kind of stuff you find on Craigslist. Now, whether or not it's true, who knows? Here's a quick one. Bad experience. I regret buying a car from Bill K. Buick in Downers Grove. So that's all it's got. And it doesn't say why he regrets it. But I just regret it. Well, thanks a lot for it. Well, how about more info, please? Oh, here's one here. Now, these are the ones that you have to be careful of. Because you have a lot of people that do scams. And it says, please help our family. Hello, everyone. My father-in-law passed away unexpectedly on January 6th. He was visiting from Nigeria. We must send his body back to Nigeria where he can have a traditional funeral and burial. Unfortunately, he didn't have a life insurance policy, and we don't have the means to do what he wanted upon his death. Please, if you cannot donate, forward this email to anyone who might be able to. Thanks in advance, Jessica. That's the kind of thing that I'll have to look back and question. Now, it says he died on January 6th. Now, this ad was posted on February 20th. So where are they keeping the father's body? We must send the body back to Nigeria where he can have a traditional funeral and burial. Well, where is he at now? Where's the body at now if he passed away on January 6th? So those are the kind of ones you got to watch for. And you have people that will read that and donate too. So I guess that's what they take a chance on. But no, I don't know about that. Here's one here, cyber stalking Illinois. And you click, oh, it's got a link. Well, you know not to do that. Anytime you go to one of these things and you see a link, it's got cyber stalking Illinois, and then they have a link. Doesn't say what the link is to or what it's about. So you know to stay away from those. You know what I don't understand about people that do things like that? Like, I'm just going to go and just click a link and I don't know what the hell the link goes to. Man, what are we, morons around here? Come on. I mean, at least play with my emotions. Put a paragraph or something up there making me think, oh, cyber stalking, that sounds like a good idea. I'll click the link. They just got a straight link up here. It doesn't tell you what it's about or not. Wow. So good luck with that. Okay, here we go. Accept donation. Okay, this ought to be interesting. Let's see what we got here. Did you just win? And he's got everything in hashtags too. Did you just hashtag win a hashtag lottery lately? Like, why does he got everything in hashtags? Or did you just get richer with a bigger paycheck? Hashtag. If you're willing to perform a random act of kindness, hashtag, please donate money, hashtag, cash, hashtag, or write a good personal check. I have lived in a nursing home for 20 years. I have a disability and I live with aging. You are good-hearted. Contact me. Should be you if you are good-hearted. But he's got, you are good-hearted. Contact me. I need Marlboro cigarettes, money to spend at Target, Family Dollar a couple of times a month. I need food, warm clothes, not clothes, warm clothes, hashtag gift certificates, gift cards, I also need a used laptop. Oh, and while you're at it, I also need a used laptop, smartphone, and HD TV, 26-inch or 32-inch. So he's got. So this guy. So here's a guy. Okay, so here we got a guy. He's on Craigslist and he's begging for cigarettes, gift certificates, gift cards, HD TV, 26-inch or 32-inch, laptops, smartphones. But I guess if you're going to ask for something, you might as well ask for what you want, right? So I guess apparently that's his philosophy. But to finish it off, well, please contact me. You can hashtag tour the nursing home I live in, hashtag like and share. I mean, if you're going to ask, go ahead and ask. But I'm going to tell you really what I want to know is how many people are actually going to donate to this guy. Like, I mean, how many people you think would actually give him something? And I'm sure there's somebody out there that would. Unbelievable. Unbelievable the stuff you see on Craigslist, man. So he's accepting donations. Here's another one. It's just straight to the point. I need a loan. This is in Indiana. I need a loan. I have some things I need to catch up on. And by the way, all the I's are in lowercase. I have some things I need to catch up on. I can pay you back on my tax return and bi-weekly payments. It's an emergency. Please help. Please respond to this listing for details. I need it by Monday afternoon. Thank you. And this is from somebody named Will. Anybody want to help Will out? He needs a loan. He doesn't say how much, but I guess you'll get in contact with him to find that out. I mean, and again, I wonder how effective that is to come on Craigslist and just ask for money. And, if it's legit, people don't mind helping. But if it's like the guy said, look, I need cigarettes, I need a big screen TV, a laptop, pretty much basically anything you can give me. Now, here's one from the New York Craigslist, local news. It says, alleged drunken helicopter pilot. There was a breaking story a while back wherein a red-orange helicopter with the white star inside of a blue circle was circling above beachgoers several times and flying extremely lowly, apparently trying to frighten snowbirds. And he did a good job of it again on several months later, allegedly. Anyone with info on this should contact us. Sources say an investigation may be warranted and charges may be imminent, allegedly. This story shall appear in the NYC copy, allegedly. Well, they don't overuse that word, do they? They want to make sure ain't nobody coming after them, allegedly. And then they have an update on the same story. Update, the chopper with red-orange with a large white star inside of the blue circle. Okay, so this is the update. So this is the original story, and this is just the update. So they're giving you the update to the original story. Does this qualify as you can't chase people down with a government vehicle, allegedly? If we were the higher-ups of this guy, we'd start sweating, allegedly. We have some interesting emails on both of these stories, safe in the cloud. Remember, you may silence a few, but you ain't going to silence do good. DOGOODE. I don't know what that is. And it just got worse, much worse. So I don't know what the hell that was about. I don't know what the hell that story was about at all. A red-orange helicopter with a blue star, white star, and a blue circle or something. Gee, man. Flying low to frighten snowbirds. A red-orange helicopter. Does anybody out there in New York know what the hell this story is about? Because I can't follow this thing at all. I mean, is this a real story or is this something made up? Anybody out there in New York want to tackle this one? Well, but again, the kind of stuff you see on Craigslist, man. We live in an era now where things come pretty quick. News comes in a hurry. You get things in an instant. Like moments after it happens, like the world knows about it. And I don't care what part of the state, what part of the country, what part of the world. You can be anywhere and get news in an instant. That's the age we live in now. Well, one of the problems about doing this podcast is that a lot of times when stories come out, we can't address it right away. By the time we get to it, it's old news. I've said that on this podcast many a times before. And by the time the podcast comes out, there will be about 2 or 3 other things that have happened that we just can't even get to. So that's one of the downsides about doing this podcast. And unfortunately for us, that's just something that right now is out of our control. Chicago is a city right now, as the world knows, that just seems to be running rampant with gun violence. So when it's time to record the podcast, that's one of the things that we always talk about. We talk about Chicago violence. If you've listened to this podcast any length of time, you know that that's something that we do. Because we live in this city, and it's like, how do we not address it? So I go on the internet and I look for a lot of this stuff, and I wind up bookmarking story after story after story, because there's not a shortage of stories to talk about when it comes to gun violence in the city. On a day-to-day basis, I can find about at least 2 or 3 stories to save and talk about on this podcast. But again, as I said, because we can't get these podcasts out quicker, a lot of things happen between the time that I'll start bookmarking a lot of this stuff and the time it takes to come up here and record our new podcast. Now, at the opening of the podcast, I talked about a story that I was going to touch on about parents, and I'm going to switch that because since I've been up here, I came across something else that I'll get into in a moment. What that story was about was, it was a Saturday night, probably about 7 o'clock in the evening. These teenage girls got into a fight. There was a big brawl, and it was all centered around 2 teenage girls. One was 13, the other one was 15. Well, the 13-year-old fighting this 15-year-old girl, and she wound up stabbing the girl to death. And the 13-year-old got the knife from her mother. Her mother gave her the knife. Now, from what I read of the story, I couldn't determine whether the mother gave the girl the knife specifically for this fight, or if it was something that she gave her a while ago for protection. I don't know, but the end result was mother gives 13-year-old girl a knife. 13-year-old gets into a fight with a 15-year-old, and the 13-year-old pulls out the knife and kills the girl, stabs the girl, kills her. Probably didn't even know that she was doing it by being 13, not knowing the consequences of an action like that. She's now sitting in juvenile hall for murder. And they also got the mother sitting in jail because she contributed to the murder. That's a story that we were going to tackle, but we're not, because since I've been up here, I came across a story. It's now become the norm in Chicago, but it's more disturbing because it was caught on video. Now, Silent told me that this is not the first that this has happened. He's told me that he's seen this before, where people are filming themselves, and you take your phone out and you film a video of yourself or take a picture or whatever. Well, there's been some instances where people have done that and they've gotten murdered in the process. This story that I'm talking about now, it's been out for a little while now, probably about a couple weeks, and it depends on when this podcast comes out. I don't know when you guys are going to hear it, but for us, it's been sitting around for about a few days. So the story is, the guy was standing outside of, I'm presuming it was his house or his neighborhood where he lived, 28 years old. And people, I'm ignorant when it comes to a lot of this filming and some of the stuff that you do now. I'm assuming that he was live streaming this, because they got this thing now where you can kind of live stream yourself and post it on Facebook or social media sites. I'm not too familiar with how that works, but you guys out there know what I'm talking about. I would have to do some research first before I knew what I was talking about, or how I could do it, but I would have to figure out how. So when I'm sitting up here saying this, I'm kind of ignorant as to how it works. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's what you do. You live stream it, and it's being posted on Facebook at the same time. But that's what this guy was doing, and in the process of doing so, he was gunned down. Now, when I read a lot of these stories about people that get shot in the city, shot and killed in the city, the majority of them kind of went down the same way it went down in this video. People are hanging out, somebody walks up to them and just shoots them. And you never know why they do it, but these are the way the stories always read when they come to us. People are standing somewhere and somebody walk out an alley and start shooting. They'll just walk up to them and start shooting. They'll pull up in the car and get out of the car and start shooting. That's the way a lot of these stories read. So I never really know what leads up to it or why it's done, but that's the way a lot of it is happening. So this story is no different than a lot of the other stories that I read, except for the fact that it was caught on video. The guy was filming as it was going on from his phone. So that's what makes this one even more disturbing, because now you have a visual and a face to attach to this story. And it's a very disturbing video. If it's the thing where you're bothered by graphic videos and graphic images, then this video is definitely not something that you need to watch. And it's certainly something that your kids shouldn't be watching. Unless you're trying to prove some kind of point or trying to give them some kind of tough love, maybe the video could be used like that. But casual kids watching it, it should, something that you really probably shouldn't be seeing. The person that was killed was a guy by the name of Antonio Perkins. He was 28 years old, and he was shot and killed on the west side of Chicago, somewhere a little bit after 8 o'clock in the evening. It runs about, how long was it silent? It was about 37 minutes. 37 minutes, 38 minutes. And the video starts out like there's a woman that has the guy's phone, and she's talking on the phone, and then she passes it back to the guy. And then he starts talking. And he's really not saying a whole lot. It's kind of, you know how people get these things, these cameras, and they just kind of just film them, and they really don't know what to say or do, but they just got a camera and they want to use it. It's kind of like one of those things. He wasn't putting on like some kind of big production. You know, it was just like he just had his phone and he was messing around. Like most people do now. They mess around, they film stuff, and then they post it. Because like I said before, everybody's got cameras on their phones, and people really just don't know what to do with them. And they just you know, it's kind of like when we were kids and you could record your voice on those tape recorders. You just hit record and just say a whole bunch of silly stuff just to record yourself. Kind of like what people do now with these camera phones. Everybody's got these camera phones, and they really just don't know what to do with them. And they just film themselves doing stuff because they can. So this video is kind of like one of those type things. It's just a guy filming himself, not talking about much. He's talking about it was hot outside, and he was just kind of panning the phone around. And in the process, probably about the 6-minute mark or so, somebody walks up to the guy, they shoot him, you hear gunshots, the phone drops, and from there on, the screen goes black, and you just hear a lot of people screaming. And they're screaming and just hollering and screaming and hollering. I mean, it's a very disturbing thing to witness. For what purpose they shot this guy, I don't know. Like I said, a lot of these stories, people just walk up to you and they shoot you, and you